Hello there, I'm Anne-Marie the Forager Chick, and welcome to my channel. Today we're going to talk about growing shiitake mushrooms. How does that sound? Are you excited? I'm sure you've always wanted to learn. Well, I'm going to do a step-by-step process for you that will make things a lot easier for you. All right, let's get started. So the first thing you need are trees for growing your shiitakes. You need to cut down a tree or have somebody cut down a tree for you about a week before you want to do this, up to about 2 months before if it's winter time. Winter and up to right about spring when the leaves start coming out is a perfect time, or in the fall right after the leaves fall off. So the trees that you would like to get, that you need to get, is a hardwood tree. No pine trees here. The main ones that I use are oak trees and sweet gum. So we have plentiful sweet gum trees here in Georgia, so we just cut them. But most of those two trees, if you're using oak or if you're using sweet gum, the shiitakes will keep growing for you for about 5 or 6 years, which is great, you know, to have 5 or 6 years of mushrooms. And somebody did cut down a tree, and unfortunately, I don't know what kind of tree this is. It was a hardwood, so I'm just going to do an experiment and a tutorial for you to see if this grows, because I pretty much do stick to the oak and sweet gum. Sometimes I've done hickory. I would like to experiment with maybe privet and poplar and see how those do too. So if you can't cut down your own trees, you can go look on Marketplace or ask some friends and see if somebody has just had a tree cut down. Now, you don't want a tree that was dying. You want a healthy tree. But also make sure that you're going to a place, if you're going to go to one of those places on the side of the road that sell logs, you want to buy a bolt, that's what it's called, about 3 or 4 feet long is perfect, and about 4 to 6 inches across. But do make sure these trees were cut down recently. You don't want a tree that's been cut down 6 months ago, because what happens is the other competing fungi will get in there and they'll already be in that log. And shiitake is not a strong fungus to fight out anything else that's in there. So you do want something that's healthy to start off with. So we got us a log, and this is one that I have here. It's probably about 2.5, 3 feet. It's pretty heavy. You can see how round it is across, probably about 4 to 5 inches across. And with your logs, I have this little stand here. You can build your own types of stand. You want to mainly clean off the log if there's any lichens on there. You don't have to be obsessive about it. Just wipe it off with a brush or a gloved hand or something like that. And then, so the first thing we do is you need a couple of tools. So let's talk about tools first. I have here a DeWalt drill. This is a DeWalt 217. It's a pretty older model, more commercial. It does have high speed at 4,000 RPMs. So you want a high speed drill. You can use a cordless drill, but it does take a little bit longer. This one's pretty powerful in order to get through the wood a lot easier, because you don't want to sit here and spend hours drilling. It should be done in minutes. And it has a special bit on it. This bit is a 12mm bit with a stop on it, so it only goes the depth that you need in order to get the spawn inside each hole. And these are special bits that are just made for inoculated mushroom logs. And I got mine from Mushroom Mountain in South Carolina. Another company that sells them is Fungi Perfecti. I think they're in the Midwest. So it's a really good steel bit and very strong and durable. I have several of them for each of my drills. So that's what you want. If you don't have one of those, you can use just a 12mm bit. It'll just be a little bit harder to get into your log. So that's our bits. And the next thing you need is your spawn. So this is a bag of shiitake spawn. And you can see this is all white because that's already the mycelium that has gone through and eaten everything it wants to eat in there. And so that's its food for now. It's kind of like a bunch of different grains, cereal grains. And wood, and I don't even know what else is in there. I don't do that part, so I just buy mine. And when you see all that white, that's definitely the colonization of the spawn. And you can even see like little baby mushrooms and stuff growing in there. So that's the spawn that we use, and we'll get back to that in a minute. And then we use an inoculator. This is a brass handled inoculator. You can use your thumb to press or your palm to press it down. They're quite durable. I've had this one for probably 7 or 8 years, and they're still pretty good. So this hole right here matches up when you drill your hole with that bit. This, when you fill it with the spawn, lines up with the hole and matches it perfectly. So you'll see every step by step. I just wanted to show you the different tools that I have. And then after we get it all inoculated, then we wax it. So I'll show you that in a little bit. So first, what I want to do is crush this up a little bit, because like I told you, the mycelium is all kind of on the outside, running through, colonizing it and such. So we want to squish it up a little bit and get it all mixed in there so it's all even. I'm going to get my knife out. I have clean hands. Normally, what I would do is I would take my spawn and I would put it in like a little bitty container. But I'm going to probably use most of this throughout this week, so I won't worry about that. You're just going to crumble it up with your hands and get it all nice and mixed up in there. And it's really neat when you look at it. You could see all the different mycelium running through the cereal grains there. And if you smell it, it smells just like shiitakes. Pretty awesome. So we got that all crumbled up. I'm going to leave that aside, but we're not going to let this be in the sunshine, because if you leave it in the sun, it could dry out. And the heat, if it was really hot out, it would kill the spawn, and we don't want to do that. So mushing it up, mushing it up. Some of it's really tough. It's been in my refrigerator for several months. There we go. That should be good. I'm just going to fold it over and leave it aside. And then you got to put on our goggles when you're drilling. That's up to you. But I'm going to show you the safety way. Put on your goggles. Get your drill ready. And what we do is we're going to drill a row of holes here. And it's going to be about, I would say, 5 to 6 holes. And then when we turn the log, we're going to alternate where the holes were, so that at the end, and I'll show you, we'll have a diamond pattern. And by doing the diamond pattern, when you put in the spawn, the mycelium will travel to all those different holes. They don't travel in straight lines. So that's why we do the diamond pattern. So get ready. It's going to get a little bit loud, and make sure you're safe with these high-speed drills. Don't have your hands anywhere near the hole. I usually have one hand on top and one hand on the trigger. My drill, I turn it on and let it run the whole time. Easy as that. There's our 5 holes. As you can see, there goes my drill on the ground. So I'm turning it slightly, and you can see the holes are here, 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 and here. My next holes are going to go here, 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 and here. So right here, the distance is about 4 to 5 inches, and then you're going to go 2 to 3 inches down to start your next row. There we go. And we continue on. Probably 1 or 2 more rows. And do get to the end. If you have a slanted log like that, do get to the end. This way your shiitake has a chance to colonize the entire log. Let's see here. See where our holes are on the other side. We'll probably do 2 more rows. Okay, this should be the last row. Oh, I lucked out. So the holes right here that you see are actually even with the ones that are below it. So I'm going to do one more row right between it and it'll be perfect. There we go. As you can see, we have all the holes drilled. Always check your log, go through it and check it and make sure you have everything done. Next, we're going to inoculate it. A little handy dandy inoculator. And what you're going to do is you're going to take your inoculator, go into the bag a couple of times. And I want to show you what this looks like. It comes out like a little pellet, little mushroom turd as I call it. Kind of neat, huh? Throw that one down. Let's get to filling. You line it up with the hole, press the button, make sure it gets in there good. That one wasn't that great. Let's try the next one. There we go. And you always want to give it a little feel, make sure it's in there good, because you don't want it to be only halfway filling the hole. You want it to completely fill the hole. So sometimes you have to go back and add a little bit more. Oops, that one didn't want to behave either. There we go. Put too much in there. Sometimes that can happen. Kind of get in a zone when you're doing this. It's very mesmerizing. At least to me it is. I can do like, I don't know, I guess about 10 logs or so. And that's usually my limit at a time. But I go to see how fast I can do it, get it done. There we go. Turn it. Don't worry, it's not going to fall out. If a little bit does, it's not going to be a problem. Line them up. So I would love to know how many of you grow mushrooms at home, if you've done it, and if you've grown shiitakes, and what your successes or failures are with it. Because sometimes you do it and you're like, ah, this was too hard. My shiitakes didn't grow. There's many reasons for your shiitakes not to grow. You may not have chosen the right wood, or the wood might have been too dry already. Maybe your spawn was old. Maybe you put them in an area that wasn't shady enough. So the most important thing, and I'll show you the mushroom forest when we're done, is once you inoculate mushroom logs, you want to put them in an area that has a lot of shade. I don't mean shade just part of the day. I mean shade all of the day. Of course, during winter, it's kind of hard because the trees don't have any leaves. So in that case, you would put it like under a little bit of shade cloth, or you can put it under some conifer trees, which have their needles all the time. That needs a little bit more. Okay. And as you're going, make sure you're checking your holes so you don't miss one. I still miss them every so often. And then you have to go back and do it. And then when you are taking care of your shiitake logs, let's talk about watering and stuff. When you first cut a log down, it's very heavy, right? You want it to stay that heavy throughout the next year, 2 years, at probably about 2 years, it'll stay that heavy. So you have to feel this log every so often and make sure that you are watering it. So afterwards, after we do this, you'll put them in your shaded area, and then several times a week you can go ahead and water it, just like you would a plant. You want to make sure it's good and moist. You don't have to prop them up on something like on a platform or anything like that. I keep mine right on the ground. But you do need to water them, unless it's raining, of course. And then after a couple of weeks, you can go ahead and water it once or twice a week. And then as the season goes on, we're getting into the warmer season now. Hopefully you'll have some decent rain, but don't forget about them. A lot of people forget about them in the summertime. You want to make sure you're watering through the summertime because you don't want it to dry out. And then in about 9 months to 18 months, because sometimes it takes a little bit longer, you'll start to see some mushrooms popping out. And then you want to give them a little bit of sprinkling of water, like misting, if you do see the baby mushrooms coming out. And then you'll mist them lightly until they start forming that good mushroom cap. And then you don't really need to water them. You can mist them a little bit, but not too much. And you'll have mushrooms within just a couple of days. So it's pretty cool. I love the process. So mine kind of do their own thing out in the woods, but I do need to start taking care of them better and watering them more so that my logs can last a little bit longer. So what I did is I got this all done. It's all inoculated, the whole thing, and I'm going to go inside and grab some wax, and I'll talk about the wax. Okay, don't you love my pink wax here? So the wax that I use is just candle wax, just regular old paraffin wax. I know we're trying to be all natural and stuff like that and not use anything bad, but the paraffin wax is not going to affect your mushrooms whatsoever. Candle wax is cheap or free most of the time. I have used beeswax and cheese wax in the past, but I find that the squirrels and other little critters, they come and they chew the wax off like within the first week. And you need that wax to stay on for about 1 to 2 weeks for sure, because what it does is it protects the spawn that you just put in there and gives it a chance to start traveling throughout the log and colonizing the whole log. After a while, I mean, if the wax falls off, it's totally fine. But for those first 2 weeks, it's really important that the wax stays on. So I use a crock pot for my wax. And when I put the paraffin in there or the candles in there, I go ahead and put a little bit of mineral oil. It helps keep it a little bit more pliable. So I just use a paintbrush. You could use a paintbrush, or you could use like these little daubers. They're just candle wax daubers, wax daubers. I used to use these all the time, but I found that the brushes are a lot easier. And this way, you don't have to go out and spend money. Everybody has paintbrushes around the house, right? So you just take your wax, make sure it's good and hot, and you're going to cover the inoculation sites. And you don't want your wax to cool off too much, because what will happen, the wax will start getting all gloppy. Make sure you cover those holes really well. And this part, you do kind of work a little quickly. Now, some people ask me, well, can't I just drill all of my logs and then fill them all and then wax them all? No, you don't want to do that, because if it's really windy or it's really hot out, your spawn, mycelium, everything in there is going to start drying out. If that starts drying out, that can kill it. So we don't want to dry it out. We want to keep it all good. So do 1 or 2 logs at a time. That's fine, but don't go drilling a whole bunch at once. So just work through the process, or get a friend, and then one of you could be drilling, the next person could be inoculating and waxing. That's what my husband does. He likes to do the drilling. I'm like, you can't drill all of them. You got to help inoculate them too, because you saw how fast that drill is. Okay, the wax is cooling just a little bit. So I don't care. I use any color wax because it doesn't matter. The shiitakes don't care. There we go. You can see it's starting to cool just a little bit. I'll try to work faster. And as you're doing this, make sure, I already noticed one, make sure that you don't have any air holes, okay? We don't want air to get in there. Not yet. There we are, all done. So let me put this wax away and I'll show you the last step. Okay, the last step is labeling our logs. Because if you just have 1 or 2 logs, you'll remember when you did them. But if you have like 50 or 75 or 100, you're not going to remember. So on here, all I have is it says SH for shiitake, a W for warm, because that's the strain that I'm using, the warm strain, which means that the mushrooms will fruit between is 65 to 85, I believe. And the wide range is 55 up to like 75, 80. So could be a little bit off with that, so I would just check on it. All I do is hammer it to the edge. And I have the date, the full date. There we go. Now, let me show you what I do with my logs afterwards. And don't go too far. I did want to talk to you about one thing. If you are interested in the printed tutorial of this, I do have a PDF of it, and I would love to send it to you. So the best way to do that is to comment in the section, and then I'll put down my website, and you can go ahead and contact me that way. I'll have a downloadable link. I'll make it a lot easier for you guys. So let me show you what we do with this log now. Okay. Taking our log to the mushroom forest. So here is my little mushroom forest. And as you can see, I know I mentioned all the shade and all that kind of stuff. You need a good amount of shade, about 90%, 85%, something like that. Now mine right now, we don't have any leaves on the tree, and the sun is over here for about 30 minutes or so, and then it's going to go off onto the other side. But I am going to have a shade cloth here, which will make it a little better for these mushrooms. But I wanted to show you. So these logs right here were done about, I would say, 6 months ago. Let's see. Oh no. Oh, these were done last July. And then these were done about a year ago. See, there's a little shiitake popping out right there. See it? And I just added our Pepto-Bismol pink log onto this stack over here. I'll move it after I get some more done. But these stacks were done the most recently. Let's see, there's another stack. These were done, let's see there, July 2022. And then let's see, I thought I saw some growing. Right here. Can you see right here? We got some shiitakes. Hey, Levi. So this one is perfect. I almost missed it. These are starting to get just a wee bit dry. It could have been picked yesterday, but you know, it was frozen yesterday too. Well, not frozen, but it was pretty cold. So all you do is pick them off. I want to see if there's any babies, so I can bring it over to show you what they look like when they're babies. Oh, here's another one. Oh, I see one. Okay, I'm going to move the camera over so you can see. So right here, look at these guys. You can see that the cap is still rolled in slightly. This one's a little bit older. Very fresh though. They're kind of crinkly on the top, a little bit scaly, cracked. Some of them are different. You'll see lots of different patterns on them. They have these little bit of, they almost look like peach fuzz on the outside. And then remember, shiitakes have gills, true gills. They're very crowded gills. But this is about the size that I would pick them most of the time, because you do want them rolled in like that. You don't want them where they're flat out like pancakes and they're really large. Hey guys, I didn't realize when I was editing the video that it totally cut out. My phone ran out of memory, the whole bit. So I didn't get to finish our little talk and the tutorial. I was done, but I didn't want to end it like that. And do remember that if you want a copy of the PDF handout that I have, go ahead and say me in the comments and get in touch with me at foragerchick.com. I'm also going to try to link it on the website. So this way, if you do go to the website, you could just click download and you would get it that way. I'm trying to figure out the easiest way for you. And I do have another video on shiitakes, on how to make the shiitake hummus, which is delicious. So I will go ahead and put it up here somewhere for you. And please, 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 if you like this video, click the like and subscribe if you're not already subscribed, and share it with your friends. And we always love comments. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Have a beautiful day.